The topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Good morning, Philadelphia. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show where we bring you the finest experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. I got to tell you, we are now in 10 cities. We have been doing this for 12 years. So we've got roughly about 80 different experts around the country. You know, you always pray that you get the best, but it doesn't always work out that way. But I got to tell you, truly, for our show here in Philadelphia, we were able to find the top workers' comp attorney. We've been together probably about 2 years now. And listen, everybody works. More people probably have a chance of getting injured at work, and most people don't even know what their rights are. So to be able to bring you this great show that will explain to you, educate you your rights, if you do happen to get hurt at work, we have got the finest attorney in Pennsylvania. Good morning, Attorney Michael Cardamone.
Good morning, Steve. How are you today?
Doing well. Listen, we really are. We're so glad that we have you as part of the show. You've always got great input, information, and, we get so many people who just thank us for offering a show like this. And I'm talking about our workers' comp show. So I know everybody appreciates it. And since, it just seems like we get more and more new people every week. Let's tell people about yourself and your firm, Michael.
Sure. So we're a small workers' comp firm, and we represent injured workers only. We never represent the insurance companies. We're small. We're very focused. 100% of our practice is, in fact, the workers' comp. So we don't dabble in anything else. We don't do Social Security disability or unemployment compensation or wrongful termination, those kind of cases. We'll refer those out to other firms that we believe are specialists in those areas. So we really focus on comp, and we cover the whole state, although the majority of our clients come from Lancaster and eastward. And we have a couple of attorneys, me and Attorney Silver. We have a Spanish translator and a nurse practitioner and an office manager. So we're a small boutique, and we like to keep it that way. And our clients really find us accessible. They find us friendly and knowledgeable, and that comes with the territory. When you only do one type of law, you become very good at it. And we always use that analogy with the doctor. Somebody that does back surgeries all day versus general orthopedics from head to toe. It's kind of an advantage for that doctor. For somebody who needs back surgery, they're going to stand out. And similarly with us, we stand out for people who are hurt at work. They know that we know what we're doing, and they're going to come to us, and we're going to be a well-oiled machine, and we're going to know how to file petitions and how to do depositions and how to do the written arguments and these kind of things. So, we keep it small, and we find that it gives us an edge to just focus on one area.
Michael, you just hit a point that is I've learned over the years is so important. I mean, we have a lot of fine attorneys in all of our markets, but it is so important that when you're looking for an attorney, get somebody who specializes in one area. I mean, I have learned this over the years. In fact, I think we even had a employment law case for Michael, and he was going to find someone. He's just handles injury workers. And that is so important, Michael. I am probably one of the reasons why you are so good at what you do. So I've always got tons of questions for you. And let's just get started. If a person is on his way to work and they get injured in a car crash, is that workers' comp?
No, commuting. Well, the answer really is it depends. But in general, commuting to and from work is not a work injury because you're not in the idea is you're not in the course and scope of your employment. You're not furthering the interest of your employer just by getting to work or coming back from work. So commuting, and we get that question probably once a month or so. We get a scenario like that, and we have to tell the individual the bad news. Now, they might have a personal injury case if the other side was negligent, but in terms of comp, commuting to a fixed place of work each day and then returning, those two commutes would not be in the course of employment. But if you're on a specific mission or doing a specific task for your employer, let's say I worked for you, Steve, and you said, Mike, I need you to get a new laptop down at Staples for the office, and here's the address, and here's on a specific task, and I'm rear-ended and I hurt my neck. That's going to be a work injury because I'm in the course of employment at that moment. That's distinct from just traveling to and from work, which is commuting, and that would not be a work injury. So you really have to look at the details carefully to make sure that the individual is either commuting or on a specific mission where they're actually engaged in the course of their employment.
So, Michael, if they have a job where they go call on clients, I'll just use radio since we're radio. You're going to call on a potential advertiser, and you're in a wreck. Does workers' comp cover that?
If I'm out driving and I'm on a work-related phone call,
yes.
It's really good.
If you're driving to a client to see a client, that's your business is sales, say, and you drive to a client, you're in a car accident. Is that covered by workers' comp?
Most likely the answer would be yes. If you're a traveling employee where you don't really have a fixed place of business, but you're going from this client and then from there, maybe you go grab lunch, then you go to another client, a different location. Maybe you're a home health aide and you're helping people who have disabilities, giving them lunch or bathing them or whatever. That will be considered in the course and scope of employment. So there's a separate sort of category, if you will, for traveling employees. And remember, that's different than just going to an office building and then clocking in, where that's going to be considered commuting if you go to the same place each day.
I'm going to bring this up because sometimes I don't get to it till towards the end of the show. And I think a lot of people don't understand, Michael, how you charge. And I don't want them saying, oh, I can't afford a lawyer and turn the show off. But they can't afford you. Tell people how you charge.
Yeah, it's a contingent fee system in Pennsylvania for workers' comp. So you don't pay anything to us, not a check, not a credit card, not Venmo, nothing. So it really levels the playing field and allows injured workers to get help without having to have any money in their pocket. So the way it works is if your claim is denied and we're successful and we get you on the comp, the judge will award 20% of the wage loss benefits to the attorney. Or if you're already on comp and we prevent them from shutting down your wage loss benefits, let's say they claim you're recovered, or that you can do a certain job, and we defeat that petition in court, then we'll start getting paid. Or what I always tell people, you really can't afford not to have an attorney.
Yes.
This is your earning power on the line. The insurance company has a lot of lawyers on staff. They know what they're doing. They will set traps for you, and you will lose money ultimately. And a lot of people come to us saying, we want a consult, but we really don't want to hire you yet. They're so nice. And they, we chit chat about the Eagles, or, they're setting me up with doctors. Yeah, they're setting you up with doctors who are going to be biased and try to claim that everything is arthritis and not related to your work injury. So people get fooled, unfortunately, where they think the workers' comp adjuster is friendly and that they're therefore on their side. And they don't realize it's a very contentious system where their goal is to pay out as little as they can on every single file. Sometimes the light bulb doesn't go off with the injured worker until they get that petition in their mailbox saying their checks are about to stop.
Yes.
So the earlier people lawyer up, the better. And it sounds self-serving, but it's just the truth. People will make more money with an attorney who does workers' comp every day than doing it on your own. And the judges will tell people at the hearings, they'll say, sir or ma'am, we strongly recommend you get counsel. You can do this on your own. It's called pro se, but we don't recommend it. And it's your choice, and so on and so forth. So the contingent fee system is great because in a lot of areas of law, you have to pay a retainer, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000. And a lot of people are working check to check, working hard, and they don't have a lot of savings, and they wouldn't be able to get a workers' comp attorney if that were the system we had. So they should lawyer up. They can only make money with the attorney. And that is the number one question we get is, how am I going to pay you?
Yes. Hey, Michael, how about when they hire you? Does that hurt their relationship with their employer?
It's a case-by-case thing, and people worry about getting fired, and employers are not allowed to fire an injured worker merely because they got a legal consult or
Right.
they retained a law firm. It's a really, really common sentiment or thought that injured workers have, or fear. And that really prevents a lot of them from getting the help that they ultimately need with their case. The employers cannot retaliate. They can't suspend you, fire you, demote you because you're getting legal advice. And we have to kind of clear that up with a lot of people because they're nervous about that happening to them. The employer might be a jerk, and they might treat them a little differently, or they might put some more pressure on them, maybe have a different attitude. And sometimes that can lead to a parting of the ways, and maybe even a discrimination case where you can prove circumstantially that things really changed after they got counsel, and that became a really hostile sort of environment for them. But we do find that, the majority of employers are aware of this, and, they sort of walk that fine line between maybe giving the injured workers some more attitude, but not necessarily firing them. So that is common.
Michael, what's the maximum rate a person can get per week on workers' comp?
So yeah, each year, Steve, there's a max rate where that's the max somebody can receive in a workers' comp check, regardless as to their pre-injury wages. So this year, I believe it's $1,273 a week. And then it'll go up maybe $20, $30 next year, and so on and so forth. So even if you made $2,000 a week before your injury, you're going to be stuck at that max rate check. I have to say, though, Pennsylvania is better than a lot of states. There's a lot of the states have a much lower max rate. So Pennsylvania tends to be pretty fair in the grand scheme of things with respect to that issue.
If you're working after an injury and you're making less than you did, is there any such as a partial workers' comp check?
Yes, that's very common. So the calculation is you get paid 2/3 of the difference between your pre-injury average weekly wage and then whatever your post-injury gross earnings are. So you sort of just plug in the formula. Let's say you made 1,000 a week prior to the injury. Now you're making, 400 a week. So you would take 1,000 minus 400, that's 600. Multiply that by 0.666, and that would give you the partial rate that you're owed each week. As long as you can show that your loss of earnings is directly due to the work injury. There are occasions where people are working after an injury and they're earning less money, but not because of the injury, but because of maybe personal circumstances, or they're taking off time to care for a family member who's ill. So you always have to show that the causal connection between the loss of earnings and the injury itself.
We're here with attorney Michael Cardamone. He is a workers' comp attorney in Philadelphia. He covers all of Pennsylvania. We're talking about educating you on what your rights are if you're injured at work, and why it's so important to have an attorney like Michael represent you. First of all, it doesn't cost anything to sit down. It's all done on a contingency basis. So you have no excuse to try to handle this yourself. Michael, if a workers' comp schedules an independent, say a medical exam, do they have to attend this?
Yeah, the bottom line is if you don't attend it, what's going to happen is the employer and the insurance carrier, their attorney will file what's called a petition to compel, asking for a court order directing that you attend the next scheduled IME. And if you don't, then any wage loss benefits, if you're on them, would be suspended. So it's important for injured workers to go to those exams. And we get that question a lot because a lot of the injured workers know that these doctors are biased and, they're out to render an opinion that will favor the insurance company. So they get nervous about attending and they ask us if they have to. And I mean, you're not going to go to jail if you miss it, but you're going to have to go to another one anyway once they get that court order. So
right,
unless you have a really good cause, you might as well attend it and just be done with it. They can do that every 6 months if they want, if you have an open case where you have to go see their doctor. So it's not always like that in terms of the clockwork. Some of the insurance companies will forget, or maybe they don't want to get an updated exam and they just let it go for a couple of years, but they can, as a rule of thumb, get that exam every 6 months or so.
Michael, do you ever see a client who's on workers' comp? I mean, maybe I've seen too many movies, but do you ever find out that they have investigators checking on you?
Oh yeah, there's a real push right now for social media investigation by the insurance companies. You still see some of the old-fashioned in-person surveillance where they're outside your street in a van with tinted windows behind a tree, and you get a report saying it's your clients, moving about freely and they don't appear to be in pain, and they follow them sometimes to a mall or a movie and try to make a big deal over it. But more recently, I would say there's more investigation with online presence and what people are posting, maybe on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook. So they're entitled to do that, and we're also entitled to tell our clients you can't delete stuff because that's spoliation of evidence and that's serious. But don't be active while your case is open. Don't post anything. Because you're just giving them an argument to make a big deal over something, or maybe take it out of context, and you don't need to play defense. So it's better to just be quiet, not post anything until your case is over.
What about, you ever get clients who try to settle the cases themselves before they realize that they're out of, I guess, their ballpark, that they need an attorney? Do you ever get clients like that?
Yeah, a lot of times people we get a couple things. One is the person who calls us after they settle their case, and workers' comp settlements, they have to be approved by a judge at a hearing. and there's a transcript, and they're asked, are they doing this voluntarily? And they know how much they're getting. They're not under the influence of anything. They're nobody coerced them. So you're really locked in once you settle it. But we get people who will try to unravel their settlement and say they got ripped off. And I said, we tell them, unfortunately, it's too late. If you already settled it, it's settled. And then other times we get people who they got a start. In other words, the insurance company made them an offer of $20,000. They don't think it's enough, so they call us to see if we can increase it for them. So you kind of get both scenarios there.
What about how long does it take to go before a judge when you have a case?
This is the really bad news of the morning, and that's it can take a year, sometimes more. So
wow,
when you're denied or not getting workers' comp, that process can be obviously extremely stressful and financially difficult. So surviving in that time frame is a tricky concept and reality for people. If you're already on comp and they're gunning for your benefits, meaning the insurance company's attorney is trying to reduce your benefits, the fact that litigation can take a year works to your advantage, because you can be on those checks for while the whole time court is going on, as long as you win the initial decision. We call it supersedious. But the bottom line is, we have due process in this country, which is a great thing. Each side can present their evidence, but that can take a while, especially when you need doctor depositions and the attorney schedules are busy. So the way the judges have it is, each side will have 3 months for their evidence. That's 6 months right there. Sometimes you need an extension or a continuance for different reasons. And then you have to write your written arguments. That takes a month or two. And then the judge will issue a decision a few months after that. And remember, they have hundreds of cases. So nothing moves at a breakneck speed. It takes time, but the system works overall. It's really fair, and it's about as efficient as you can get, to be honest.
Is that why it takes so long? Because the courts are so backed up?
Well, workers' comp's a high volume area of the law. There's a lot of people who are injured at work. I think there was a judge that said in a case many decades ago that workers' comp is the most important area of the law, in that it affects the pocketbooks of more people than any other area of law. So it's a very common thing for someone to get hurt at work, and the judges, they have a pretty big caseload. But it's not just that; it's just the things take time to get depositions done, and to get a doctor's deposition done, and then another doctor on their side, and to write the arguments. And so it would be tough to get it done under that 12-month type of time frame, I think.
Can a person appeal a decision by a judge?
Absolutely, yeah. Just like any area of the law, if you feel the judge made a mistake, didn't consider certain evidence, or made an error of law, didn't apply the law correctly, you can appeal, and it goes up to the Workers' Comp Appeal Board. You can appeal that decision to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and then the PA Supreme Court will take certain cases if they think they're of public interest. So the bad news with that is it's very difficult to get an appeal, to get a decision overturned. I don't know what the stats are, but they're very low. So Most of the time that appeal board will give deference to the findings of the original judge. So you can appeal. I'm not discouraging people from appealing if they think they have legitimate grounds, but they are very difficult to overturn.
Who's going to hear the case? Is it a jury or a judge?
Well, in your case, it's in front of a workers' comp judge initially, and if you lose there and you appeal it, it goes up to the appeal board. So, but most people are in front of the workers' comp judge. We don't have a jury in Pennsylvania, and I think in most states they call it like a judge or a referee. There's not a jury for workers' comp law.
Well, you know what, Michael? The only thing bad about this show is it goes by so fast. I've got hundreds of other questions, but I always like to end the show with, Why should I retain your company?
Well, I think, as I said earlier, we're small, we're accessible, we're successful, and we're friendly. I mean, there's really the four key components that really sets us apart. Where clients can reach us, they can text us, they can email us, they can come in our office. We don't shy away from that. We can do a Zoom call. The judges know us in our firm. We've been doing this for a while. They know that we're focused on workers' comp. And that's all we do is comp. So being super focused really gives us an edge. And I also think our clients find us to be friendly. I think probably because we are a smaller firm, we're able to talk to them on the phone and not cut them off. And we're able to give them more time and compassion. It's not just a legal pursuit. It's really a psychological pursuit with comp, keeping our clients from going into depression and keeping them positive and hopeful about their situation, because it's really scary when you're hurt and you don't know if you can bring in the same money anymore. So I think those are the four big reasons why, people should look at us maybe versus some of the bigger outfits that might be a little less accessible and maybe not quite as friendly as we are.
Michael, I've learned over the years, bigger is not better. I come all the way back from the Yellow Page days when attorneys who dealt in injuries would have a full page ad, and people were going to take them because of their full page ad. I love the fact that you're a little bit smaller, you're more hands-on. I know customer service is so important to you, and we're so glad and blessed to have you. Give everybody your phone number and your website, Michael.
Thank you, Steve, for the nice words. Yes, our phone number is 215-206-9068. And online, it's Cardamone, CARDAMONE, law. So cardamonelaw.com. And we also blog at paworkinjury.info.
Wonderful. Michael will be back again with us this month. Today's the first, but he'll be back with us the last Wednesday of the month. We're so glad to have him. Michael, have a good week.
You too, Steve. See you soon. Bye-bye.
That's attorney Michael Cardamone. He is really, really good, folks. You cannot go wrong with retaining his services. And that's it for us. We'll be back next week with more Ask the Experts. Have a good week, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.